scared. He said, Charlie, shut up, get back in the room.
He just threw the pie.
Press the wrong button.
It went dark. I did not even look.
Yeah, I think there's one. If anybody needs to sign in that hadn't signed in yet that wants to address council, please do so before meeting takes it up. Yeah.
We got about 2 seconds. Anyone else vote?
I had a lot of updates for tonight, but John took bodily harm, so I'm not gonna read it.
Your table, just send an email.
We'll see.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, if I can have your attention, we'll call the Loudon City Council meeting for March 23rd, 2026 to order. This time I want to ask our city manager, Mr. Kevin Owens, to lead us in the invocation, and Vice Mayor Dixon will lead us in the pledge. If everyone can stand. Mayor, go on.
We pray. God, we thank you for a good day. We thank you for a city that we can serve, that we care about. God, we thank you for blessing us with the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you for all you do for us. Pray for our leaders as they gather together and make important decisions for the city, that we would do everything in the best interest of these customers and citizens, and God, that we do everything to glorify you. It's in your son Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Roll call, please.
Mayor Harris,
Here.
Vice Mayor Dixon,
Here.
Councilmember Fargo,
Here.
Councilmember Newman,
Here.
and Councilmember Wright.
Okay, we're all present. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to the monthly meeting of the Loudon City Council. My name is Mayor Jeff Harris. I'd like to welcome everyone to our meeting tonight. Tennessee law gives every Tennessean the right to attend city council meetings and to see how their government operates. We appreciate each of you taking time out of your own personal schedule to come and see how your local government works. It's my intention as your chair to create a space where everyone feels seen, heard, respected, and valued. You should have a copy of tonight's agenda. If you don't have one, you can pick one up on the table at the back of the room. This agenda is your guide to the topics we'll be discussing tonight. In order to conduct efficient business-like meetings, the council has adopted some specific, easy for me to say, specific rules to follow. Primarily, these rules are designed to keep the meeting moving, ensure all points of view are heard and considered, and provide for common courtesy. In a few minutes, we'll come to a place on the agenda entitled Citizens Input, where anyone who has signed in to speak to council is encouraged to do so. We do, however, ask that you wait until you've been recognized before you speak. After being recognized, approach the podium and address the council. We ask that you follow 3 simple rules. At the beginning of the presentation, please state your name for the records. Address all your questions to the chair, and avoid the use of improper language, profanity, or any other inappropriate conduct. Once the citizens' input portion is over, the council will proceed with the remainder of our agenda. You're welcome to stay and observe the minutes of the meeting, but be advised that any additional public comments will be limited to 3 minutes each and at the discretion of City Council. We ask everyone to remember we're doing the people's business here tonight, which is a very important responsibility for all of us. You can help us do that business by observing the rules we've established for our meetings. Again, we welcome everyone here to the Loudon City Council meeting. We're glad that you came tonight. Okay, next item on the agenda is recognition of visual. We have one signed in, Eddie Ravitch. Eddie, if you approach the podium and tell us what's on your mind.
Thanks for letting me speak. My name is, well, officially I'm Joseph, but everybody knows me as Eddie Ravitch. I live within the Green Acres subdivision. I've still got some safety concerns and some other issues that I've got some concerns about, but mostly are tied around traffic safety. I spoke to you earlier in the week, and I've still got even more concerns. I kind of wrote down, I'll try to go as quickly as I can. The first one is coming off Highway 11, both at Georgia as well as what we call the second entrance, and overlook. You have blind hills coming from Phillip, and you also at both entrances. You better be watching what you're doing. As you come to the Georgia Street entrance, that turn lane actually serves as a Wellington Place turn as well as Georgia Street turn. So you better be watching what you're doing there. You're either gonna get rear-ended or you're gonna sideswipe somebody. Or as you're turning in, you're gonna get T-boned if you're not careful. In addition, according to his own traffic studies that was done, they're planning on putting around close to 68 homes in there, or 66, 68, something like that, 68 I think it is. I'm not sure how that got through Board of Zoning Appeals, because at the last committee meeting in October of last year, he was denied because of he didn't meet, we call him frontage, but now he does. When I looked at the plat that you sent me, there's about 13 of them that don't meet 75-foot frontages. So how did that get passed? But I regress back to my main concern, which is traffic. You've got not only, according to their study on page 1, there's gonna be close to 814 vehicles coming through just from Sunrise Ridge. I probably should have prefaced this first. I'm not against his development. I've known for years there's gonna be somebody put something back there. When he was first annexed into the city, when the gentleman and his wife that come here, it was for 2 houses. It snowballed from 2 houses to 68 now. I think that's a big difference to address. Big difference between traffic from two houses than they are from 68. If you look at what he presented in the planning commission, I'm assuming it was, where he presented his traffic study, he says there's gonna be 2-car garages. Well, that's 68, that's 136 cars. He also is gonna have carports or driveways for 2 additional vehicles. So right there is 272 vehicles just in the residence of the subdivision. That don't account for Uber, that don't account for DoorDash, that don't account for FedEx, Amazon, Lowe's, Home Depot, etc. Any of the big trucks coming up through there. This morning I was looking at his study again as I left. I realized that I was leaving after his peak studies that he put in there. Well, at the Grimes Road entrance, I about got hit by an F-250 hauling a trailer with a bush hog and a tractor. Got in front of him, made the corner right there where J.C. Yates is, and I don't know what he's called, but it's the dump truck or the city's truck that's got the claw on it. Okay? He's there picking up debris. So I stopped. Glad I did, because he dropped some of what he picked up. Not only did he finally pick it up and get it back in there, but it ricocheted out, and I couldn't get around him. Fortunately, as I tried to get around him, I just give up and just backed up and let him have it. And that was in the curve there, that according to his study is a hazardous curve. He mentions in his studies on page 11 that, in his traffic study, that all 5 of those curves within our subdivision are concerning curves. So we're fixing to put up to 814 cars in there by 2029?
Well, I think it was 814 trips, wasn't it? Not cars.
Well, trips.
Trips, yeah.
But it's
So
still a
there'll
car.
be multiple trips by a
Yeah.
car or
Yeah,
cars.
but it's still 814
Yeah,
cars.
it's trips.
I mean, whether it's a trip, it's a car taking the trip.
Could be multiple trips by the same car.
Yeah, but it's still a
It's
car.
still, right.
Yeah, whether it is, I mean, it don't matter, it's still a car making the transition. Friday when I went home, as I was going home, as I talked to you earlier, they originally, when Wellington Place was put in, they were trying to get access into our subdivision there at Jack Delaney's. Fortunately, and Tim, I think you might have been on, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to address you, but, Nancy James was on the city council then, and she realized the concern we had.
Well, one thing about that, Eddie, too, I found out, That's a private street connected to a public street. Those streets inside the condos are private streets, they're not public streets, so it's not a public street connected to a public street, those are private
Okay,
streets.
but if I don't remember incorrectly, Mr. Clark, that put Wellington Place in, was trying to get those streets private,
Yeah, well, that was,
unprivatized.
yeah, I don't- that was before.
Before you.
us, right.
But they set the precedence about allowing streets on that Georgia Street entrance, on that Georgia Street road, in my opinion. Further, I think there's concerns about, more traffic as they're going up and down Georgia Street. A lot of it's gonna get diverted to Overlook. A lot of kids live on Overlook. A lot of kids play on those roads. A lot of kids cross those roads. You know that firsthand. You had some visitors in your pool. So I think there's some concerns there that there might be some pedestrians and vehicles meet each other in the wrong way. And again, I'm not against his development. It's butting up against my property for a pretty significant amount, and I don't have a problem with his homes. Man's got a right to put his homes there if he meets those. I'm concerned about where he's putting his road when he's got access off Highway 11. County's already denied him off of Grimes Road. And I just think that if you all would do what I feel like is right, I would hope that you all would think about it, evaluate it, and make your own decisions about it, and decline or deny him the access off of Georgia, for the betterment of not only the people gonna be living in his development, but those that live in Wellington Place, those that live in Green Acres, and those that, according to his study, said are cut-throughs. All it takes is one mishap to take a life, and we've been lucky. Like I said, I've tried to simplify it down since I got 3 minutes, but,
Well, you got more than 3 minutes, it's additional comments at the end,
oh, okay, okay,
so take whatever time you need.
okay. Well, okay. I'll take it. Well, my wife back here, so
Yeah, she may put
you
it
keep me on
pressure on.
track. I also think that there's a significant amount of cut-through traffic that has to be addressed. Particularly with once he gets this thing built out and we have access up through there, if this is approved, it's gonna be a nightmare up through there. Some of the other things that are not as concerning to me, but are also concerning is water pressure. You and I talked the other day, my wife can be in the shower, Karen can be in the shower, and you flush the toilet, you've either scalded her or you froze her to death. And that hadn't changed. I've even put in a pump at my house and it still hadn't fixed it.
Yeah, you're, like I said, at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure that happened down at you at the bottom. Finally, I just think that there's gonna be problems at both entrances. He's got access off Highway 11. I realize it may cost him a little bit more money, but I don't think money is worth a life. I don't envy your all's job, because I know you all have to balance public safety with right of a developer, and I respect that. But I hope you would do the right thing from all citizens' standpoint and deny him this entrance into our subdivision. I thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Eddie.
And appreciate it.
Okay.
I also want to appreciate you in terms of what you helped me with.
You're welcome. I mean, I did meet with Eddie privately and tried to, I agree, traffic is always a concern. Looking at the traffic report, and I sent that to Eddie for him to look at it too. I mean, the line of sight, they pretty much said that met the minimum. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, city engineer and our planner. And according to the planning, all the lots met the minimum on this last plat that they submitted. I know you said 13 didn't, but,
Don't look at it.
well, I mean, you can talk to our planner after, but, the 75-foot minimum, they all met that from what I saw. It might not be in the front, could have been in the back,
Yeah, it's
whatever.
a building setback line.
Yeah, the setback line, so, I did, and I'm gonna put our city attorney on the spot here. I did check with our city attorney about denying him access, and again, the mayor and council had no decision to make, and this was a planning commission decision, because he was not asking to be rezoned, he was not asking to be annexed, it was zoned correctly. All his lots met the 10,000 square feet. And so he wasn't asking council for, not even the BZA, right, Tim? He didn't, there was nothing. So, but with the question you asked me, could we deny him access to that? And another thing about, I looked into when you said that the condos was gonna connect onto Georgia, it was also really close to Gale Street. You had two entrances right there together on Georgia. From, if that had been made a public street in the sub, you'd had two roads right parallel right beside each other. But I did ask our attorney about, can we deny access? And Chris, I don't know if you wanna share what you found with MTS.
Was that the property owner has a right to access the public street there, and at this point for the city to take away that access would be similar to a condemnation proceeding. It would be taking away a vested property right, and it would entitle the property owner to compensation for that.
And that would come from the city.
Yes.
So that's the,
Which would be how much?
I'm not an appraiser, but I imagine it would be a significant amount of money.
Well, the only other thing where's the construction entrance gonna be? Is that gonna be the
It's
construction?
just the one entrance.
yeah, cause it's connected to a public street. The right of way is there, the dedicated right of way that's there. And the county, just a correction, the county didn't deny him access on Grimes Road. If he connected to Grimes Road, he was gonna have to widen Grimes Road to 20 feet from there to overlook. So that was one of his options he'd have to do, and he elected to, in order to not have to put in two entrances, he elected to sprinkle every house to have one entrance. Yeah. So he could have come out on Grimes Road, but he'd had to widen Grimes Road from the access point to overlook.
So if he's gonna sprinkle these homes, what's that gonna do to my pressure?
I can't answer that. I know they went and tested it, and I can't answer that. I know the fire department went up and I know Bill James went up and tested it, and different ones from the fire department. I can't say what those tests revealed. I don't know the test, but it must have met. I mean, I think we're required, what, Kevin, 20 pounds of pressure at the meter, that what PSI at the meter?
There's some different, I mean, the TDEC minimum, I think is 20 PSI at the meter. But on the main, that would have been tested to make sure there was adequate pressure that would run the fire systems.
And that was factored on it being completely built out,
Oh, I'm sure.
so. So any other,
So Chris, you're saying there's nothing us as a council can do?
Not without either compensating the developer for the loss of value, by being not able to access a public right of way, or, yeah, I mean, there's no mechanism to, at this point, because it was a planning commission decision.
and they approved his plat.
Right.
So there's no way we can put his thumb on and say, please make another entrance?
No, because it's already been approved by the planning commission.
And we can't send it back?
No, you do not review those decisions.
Any other? All right, next item is adopting of the agenda. Everybody got the agenda emailed out to them?
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Have a motion to adopt, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Well, we did citizens input when we recognized visitors, so next item is approval of the minutes.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I've reviewed the minutes from last month's meeting and recommend their adoption.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the
I'll make a
minutes?
motion to accept the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is, it's considered motion. This was, something that was brought up at our workshop. We've talked about it for several months. Referring proposed zoning ordinance text amendments to the Loudon Regional Planning Commission for review before drafting the ordinance for public hearing. So basically, we're approving to send this, I think, to Planning Commission. Right, Michael?
Yes, we'll be asking you for a motion, to refer to planning commission. We sent some definitions in what was asked, for us to draft, over the weekend. I don't know if you all had a chance to review that. And also sent, an email with information from the state's Center for Local Planning. Kevin, did you get some slides for this, or?
I wasn't sure they in my email. Can you make a look?
They would be, it's fine, if anybody has any, questions about, some of the definitions, it's just, so you can see on the big screen if we need to review that.
Probably good to put them up there.
When did you send this? So that in
This, like this said, it was about 4 o'clock today.
It's for me.
It's right,
that's what we'll read.
just thinking of that as we started talking here. But essentially, we presented to you last time.
It's the same definitions you presented.
Yes, sir. Same definitions. We talked about 3 options for the use permissions. And that was to have it as a permitted use, where we could, just focus on what the rules are. How high fences are, how close we are to residential. Special exceptions, which are heard by the Board of Zoning Appeals, where there could be special conditions placed on the property within a scope of view set for the Board of Zoning Appeals. So that could be screening, fencing, lighting, noise, those types of things. So we discussed that, and then also talked about special use review, which is similar to truck stops, goes through planning commission, comes to you as a recommendation, and then you all voted up or down. So since then, we went back to the state requesting, thank you, Kevin. And this is kind of where I am. Last time we talked on the 9th, the workshop. We've got the 2 definitions. We talked about the use permissions in M1 and M2, which are light industrial and heavy industrial. So would it be in a commercial district of that nature. So we also talked about some design standards last time. And if you wouldn't mind changing the slide, please. And here's the definitions. If you had a chance to review them last time, they haven't changed, but since we've kind of started this discussion and look at other types of automotive services, with this one we felt that the record service lacked definition in the zoning ordinance, and also this would grant us some ability to talk about the storage, because you may have one that doesn't have storage, one that does have storage. So just to be as thoughtful as we can in setting these new uses. And then in the next slide, we talked about use permissions. So who gives permission for this land use? We talked about it as being a special use review, where both for each of these districts, light and heavy industrial, and for both definitions, record service and the storage yard would go to planning commission and then come to city council. We've run that through the Office for Local Planning, and brought you some additional information for that. It was also asked at the workshop about sunsetting approvals or expiring approvals. We received some feedback about how other communities address this land use and similar land uses. When we brought this to you last time, it was kind of the result of a comparative study. They said, you know, hey, we highly recommend that you look to other cities in your area to ensure that, you know, regulations are more defendable. They've withheld some scrutiny and some use. So while the standards that we chose are clear and enforceable, they recommended us to kind of revisit considering permitted use or special exceptions. The permitted use would mean that these uses would be allowed by right in these districts. So you own this property, you can go run this business, operate this business, as long as you meet this set of rules. And that's what some do, and so what we could do, if you would like to select that path, would be to really dive into the rules, which I think you've received, and that we have done that. You'll see in the next slide how we've tried to take your feedback for what we felt were your concerns, but we talk about offset distances from residential, we talk about fence height, so we could, if we still have concerns about how a business like this would operate in these districts, the recommendations are really kind of two options. As a permitted use, and we all really focus on these definitions. Do you all feel that these, you know, are enough of a rule book that this type of business can operate in these districts without more concern? If we still feel some concern, we can have a rule book, and we can also send it to the Board of Zoning Appeals as a special exception, where they could impart discretionary conditions based on a narrowed scope. So we can't go and say that we don't want that building to be purple if it's not described. We can't. So what we would ask is to set up guardrails where we would limit it to screening, you know, maybe right-of-way access, fencing, lighting, odor, noise, where that would limit the scope of their discretionary powers. Those are the two recommendations from the Center for Local Planning for us to consider. They did state that, you know, what we had defined was clear and enforceable, but they kind of reiterated this as something for us to consider. And I'll stop if you have any questions, or I can move on to some of the discussion about the.
Have any questions so far?
I don't think so.
I don't
Everything's
think there
like
was-
what we looked at.
Yeah, I think the definitions we kind of all agreed with. I think we got down to the sunsetting and the, you know, that kind of thing was where the discussion went. I don't think there was much discussion about the definitions or anything.
We could talk about the sunsetting, and it got down into a little bit of a different discussion than we had last time. Some of that was kind of centered around approvals, and maybe Chris could speak to this. putting you on the spot a lot tonight, Chris. Vested interest. So if someone has a building or a use approved, and their approval would expire, they also have vested interest in particularly things that involve certificates of occupancy and building permits and those types of things. I think that there's some instance of this where it may be a temporary use for a temporary building that's not a permanent structure that's affixed to the site.
Yeah, I just think that's a lot more complicated than to try to add that into this. That's just my personal viewpoint, and let council decide, kind of talk about it. I'm fine with the definitions myself that's there, and I'm fine sending what we've got to planning commission for their approval, but what's the rest of the council think?
I like what they came up with here, all the definitions. If you wanted to look even farther, you go through Tennessee codes and see if there's anything else in there. And I'm sure you've looked through that. And, but if there's anything that need to be added on down the road, any situation comes up, you can always take a look at it and amend what you have.
We'd be happy to do that, and if we need to get into permitting or licensure at some point, and maybe really permitting, there are other cities that have, really territories where they have, multiple contracts. Some of it really involves, public safety or police department of towing vehicles. So it could get a little complicated, and they need certain type of insurance. You've got this contract and you're in this, district and.
I think giving the BZA the discretion power to say it's gotta be this, they can really tighten the scope up.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Your motion
We
is,
haven't finished the discussion yet, have we?
well, we'll send discussion after motion and second.
Oh, okay.
But is the motion for permitted use as a special exception or
We never
special
discussed that.
use for
That's
use?
why I don't understand the
Yeah,
motion.
that's, I think that's the meat of the.
How do you,
The point of decision, correct?
how do you want it sent?
Be careful.
Well, I guess I am being careful.
You know what I'm saying is, Chris had a point, we had three options.
Well, you gotta have a motion in a second before you can discuss.
We don't have an option to make a motion on yet.
Unless you know what your
Option was-
motion is for.
That's
Yeah.
right. So the option is, I think we all agree on the definitions, like the mayor said. The question we had last time was, is it a permitted use? Is it by exception, or is it by special use? We need to know that before we make a motion of what we're agreeing to. And that was gonna be the next topic he was about to talk about. So I think we might be
Okay,
premature
I'll
on making a
send my
motion.
motion.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the next question is,
So bad.
we agree on this, I think we all, so the question came up is, permitted use, as long as they meet these criteria, the BZA or commission or anybody can't add anything to it or say no if they meet it. If it's by special exception, it just means it has to go to BZA for approval, but again, if they meet the minimum requirements, they can't add anything. Special use allows the commission, and it doesn't have to come to us, we can say it can be permission, then they can add additional things that they find that specific piece of property needs additional requarements to meet the intent of being screened.
That's
That's what
where
we
need
talked
to be.
about
That's
last
what-
time.
Yeah.
Now, special use doesn't have to, it can come to us, but we can also say special use, we give the permission to the planning commission to make those decisions, and it doesn't come to us.
And
That's
those-
our option.
Yeah, those are we put those commissioners on there and empower them to make those decisions. I think we should let them make those decisions.
And I have no problem with
And
that.
if they're not making the decisions council feels like they're not, we take them off. But that's the, empowering that committee, I think, is what we want. I agree with John, I think we want them to be able to have the authority to say.
Because there might be a piece of M1 somewhere that's not appropriate unless it has additional requirements than this. This would probably handle most of them, especially the ones inside of industrial parks.
Yeah.
It would probably handle. There may be that one or two out that, so I think what we're saying is we agree on definition and we believe it should be approved as special use by the planning commission, not this body. Is that what?
Didn't we talk in workshop about that second level where it goes to planning commission, then it comes to us as well?
Right.
Under special use, it can come to
Is there a
us,
slide?
or we can push it to planning commission.
Not
I'm-
for all
I'm-
the options.
But we did talk last time about it coming to us.
Like a truck stop or something else,
Right.
as far as, is that, we're gonna allow it there.
But that's our option. We can say we withhold that and we wanna add the requirements, or we can delegate that to the planning commission and let them make that decision. That's really on us.
And the state's telling us that the Board of Zoning Appeals is empowered by Tennessee code to assert those types of special conditions if, for a special exception.
I mean,
I thought it was
Board of
only
Zoning-
special use. Are you sure it says special exception, they can do that too?
So we have a special use review process that is developed based on other municipalities that is a specific ordinance. Some of the language is interchangeable. For example, in our zoning ordinance, it's use on review is also a special exception. When we talk to the state, they tell us that special use is also special exception. So there's some interchangeable words there. What gets confusing for our part is that we have this ordinance that we use for truck stops, which is allowed in other districts, but is only allowed by you all asserting a rule at the interstate, because before it was prohibited.
Yeah, right.
I want to make sure, because what I understood from TC was that special exception, as long as they met the minimum requirements, the BZA had to approve it. Special use allows them to add additional conditions if they see it is warranted. That's my understanding.
I'd be happy to double check that.
But whatever the wording is,
Yeah.
I think our desire is that we want the planning commission or BZA to have the ability to add those conditions if that piece of land warrants it, and not just have to approve that if they meet the minimums.
Yeah, say it's M1.
That's a clear direction.
Right,
Okay.
I think that's pretty much
Whatever it's called,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
whichever one that is, that's what the motion needs to be.
I think is that what everybody's,
But the BZA, they're entitled and empowered to make those
Yeah.
decisions.
because we don't word it
I
right.
definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Because if they can't make the decision, it's gotta come back to you, then why do you need them?
Because if we don't word it right, it's gonna end up like what Eddie was talking about, that when they came in with their plat, they met the minimum requirements and the commission had to approve it because they met the minimum. They couldn't add on to say, oh, you need to widen this, do this. So we're sort of locked our hands. This way I wanna make sure that commission, whether it be BZA or planning commission, has the ability to add conditions that they see
Yeah.
based on that specific piece of property.
If that was zoned that way and it was allowed to be there, they couldn't put a restriction of
That's right.
height of a fence or.
They couldn't say, oh, it needs to be
Right.
10 foot because of
It needs to be
this,
screened.
or it needs to be, if they meet that minimum requirement, they have to approve it.
Well, with
Now,
that-
or sometimes they can say, you know what, you meet all these requirements, but that piece of property just really isn't appropriate for this type of business because of traffic or residential or whatever. It gives them the ability to say no.
I mean, what if there's a piece of M1 property in downtown? We don't know,
Yes.
if there- I mean,
Yeah.
there could be, we don't know.
Well, there is.
So is that how you want me to work on motion?
Well, we need to survey that and fix that.
Yeah, that needs to be fixed, right? Well, I think it's whichever one it is that gives the BZA the authority.
So
To
they,
add further conditions.
yeah, add further conditions, they can't prohibit it.
Yeah.
But they can, you know, if, let's say there's some unique topography where, you know,
So is that
the way
special?
the neighbors are, the fence and the screening needs to be adjusted for
Now,
site-specific use.
you said they can't prohibit it. Under special use, they can prohibit it even if they meet the requirements. I wanna give them that ability.
To prohibit,
Yes, if they feel that that business just does not fit on that piece of land for community whatever, they can say no. And that's allowed under special use. They can say no if it's not conducive or for the betterment of the community. I wanna give them that ability.
Is that the same way the truck stops work?
that's the way the truck stops are.
Truck stops, we can say, no, even if you meet all the requirements, we can say, you know what, it's just not appropriate for a truck stop to be on that spot. We can say no. I wanna give the planning commission that same ability. As long as, they can say no, as long as it's not arbitrary or capricious, okay? If they come up and state and say, we don't think it's appropriate for these reasons, and they document it, you're okay. But if they just say, no, I don't want you, they can be sued and it can be considered arbitrary, which has happened in the past. But they have to state, if they say no, they have to state a reason why it's not good for the community, so it can hold up and, so Chris can do his job later.
We do need to find a place where this land use can exist
Yeah.
in the district.
Yeah, but
So
we
we
can't zone it out.
do have that with truck stops currently, they're allowed in M1 and M2,
But we have the ability to say no.
not in M1 and M2, just in the C4 interchange commercial district at the interstate where there was historically proposed uses there that were later prohibited. So we're looking for placement somewhere in a district where the lawful business can operate. And the state is recommending that we do that in two ways. As a permitted use, and we maintain heavy focus on the definitions as to what we feel, you know, how much screening, does the whole frontage need to be screened? You know, these types of hard and fast rules, or as a special exceptions with rules and some discretionary ability
By the BZA.
by the BZA to address site-specific needs. So if we get into a situation where we say, we want a 6 foot high 6 foot fence, and the neighbors are gonna see right down into something, or you know, there's some documentable issue that staff could provide documentation and, you know, guidance or technical support on, then a condition could be imparted based on that.
We could say, well, okay, you gotta do an 8 foot fence instead of a 6 foot fence.
And it just has to, there's a,
With 8 already.
Yeah.
it needs to be
Yeah.
10 foot versus
It could, yeah, right, based on the site conditions at that site.
Yeah, and I think, Chris, the law, I think there's another term, but it needs to be reasonable and, for example, we can't tell them they've gotta build a 30-foot tall
Yeah,
fence.
yeah.
You know, that's,
Now, that is, what would that be, special use on review, or what is that, or special
a
exception?
special exception by Board of Zoning Appeals.
Okay, so that would
But
be,
please check, because
Yes, sir, I understand.
That would be
use.
Yes,
Kenny,
sir.
that would be the motion, I guess, if you need clarification on what the motion should be, it would be
I'll let somebody else make the motion.
special exception.
Well, it's not say exception or use, he's gonna, our intent is we give them the power to add additional conditions based on that specific piece of land.
Yep.
Whatever that, whether it's an exception or a use.
I
I'm
understand.
under the impression it has to be a use, but you're saying that language there.
I understand that you would prefer it to go to Board of Zoning Appeals
Mhm.
for discretionary ability.
Yes,
I will
Whatever the
follow
wording
up with permit.
takes
Yes, sir.
between you and Chris, that's our intent.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So I'll make that motion. I'll make the motion that we send the definitions as presented, that the approval would be whatever the wording is for BZA or commission to be able to apply additional requirements based on that specific piece of land.
Okay,
Understood.
we have a second?
Second.
Okay, that was all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any discussion before we vote? This is a motion to send it to planning commission.
Which they can add or take away or do something completely different.
As long as they have, BZA has control of that.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, he's got that.
And also check on the law whether, I've seen under TCA where special use was planning commission, exceptions were BZA. But just check that too.
Yes, sir.
I know it's the same body, I get it, but it's which meeting conducts it.
Yeah.
So just make sure, because like I said, when I saw TCA, it was planning commission or council could do special use. BZA did exceptions and variances, but please check.
Yes, sir.
But you know the intent.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Michael.
For the minutes, thank you.
How do y'all wrote all that down? It's up to you all. I don't know.
I got 5
Chris will have to
words.
really review that, the minutes. Okay, some resolutions. First one is authorizing Kenny Horn.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Second one is authorizing contract for audit services with
Motion
two
to approve.
CPAs. Okay, we have a
Second.
motion, we have a second. Second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Fuel quote comparison, was from Rogers Petroleum, no motion on this, and, or action for the projected amount of $30,093. That's for unleaded gas and low sulfur undyed diesel. Departmental reports, Chief Brubaker, you have any?
No, sir,
We got your chief deputy back.
He's back in the saddle.
All right, so Mr. Harrison's back, and I want to congratulate him on, I'm sure that's a lot of hard work for him. All right, Director Lyle?
Yes, sir, the dock has been repaired, so.
Hey,
Everybody know. The annual Easter egg hunt is this Saturday, at the Loudon Municipal Park Amphitheater grounds, and the kids will be released right at 1 o'clock sharp, so make sure everybody's there, ready to go, lined up, at least by 12:30.
corralled.
Yeah, corral them in, get them up there. And we're finalizing the grant application, it'll be submitted by the deadline on April 1st, and fingers crossed, we'll receive it, and we'll know sometime by the end of July.
Okay, and all the Levitt concerts, I mean, that all the artists have been booked, have they?
Yeah, well, she's gotta get final approval from Levitt before we can release it, but she
Okay.
has got the dates right now, but again, Levitt has to approve everything, and once we do that, I'll get you all.
I think they've approved the first one, haven't they, that,
Yeah, for,
third.
July 3rd.
Yeah.
So July 3rd, we're good to go. And
Okay.
we've got, well, I don't know if I'm supposed
No,
to say.
yeah, she told
Don't say anything.
I can't say the bands yet, so.
Yeah. They're just approved. that
Yeah, they're
somebody's
approved.
gonna be here. All right. Okay, let's see, okay, Daniel?
Just want to give an update on our new equipment. We are using it 2 to 3 days a week. Right now, we're not doing much patching. We're fixing some outstanding safety issues around the city to get that up to code. And we haven't had to buy any asphalt yet because that machine's capable of taking asphalt that asphalt company's dumped out on the ground, putting it in there, reheating it, and having asphalt. So we've had 8 tons of free asphalt. so far.
Recycling,
Well,
yeah.
now we have the different companies bring it to us, because it gets hard in their truck, so they just dump it out and we recycle it.
Well, good,
Then put it to good use.
okay. Engineer Hogan, you have anything else?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. City planner, Ms. Lori, you good? Eddie, if you have any questions please get with Lori after. Appreciate y'all coming and.
Talk to Chris too.
Okay, all right, please do so. Manager Goins, do you have anything?
No, I've been threatened.
He took all the time, so you probably off the hook.
I didn't take all the time.
No.
I'm trying to keep Kenny on line.
Melissa, you have anything?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. All right, council member reports, Councilmember Newman,
I do not.
not with Brack, anything?
No, big one right now, they're pushing with the Kenway Horn.
Yeah, the Levitt.
So, yeah, Levitt Foundation, so
Okay.
nothing new to update.
All right, Vice Mayor Dixon from Planning Commission.
We have a planning commission meeting. We had applicant 204 preliminary plat review, Sunrise Ridge subdivision. Applicant property owner Heritage Land Development Partners. And that was for use of, going on to, I think name of the street now. Georgia Street. That was approved by the planning commission. And then applicant 240 site plan review with Matlock Bend Substation from Loudon Utility Board on the city of Loudon, which was approved by the planning commission. And a historic zoning commission, applicant 235, application for certificate of appropriateness for the replacement of doors, which was applicant First Baptist Church of Lenore City, property owner First Baptist Church Loudon. That was approved. They were replacing 3 doors. Applicant 238, application for certificate of appropriateness for building and window signage and floor canvas underneath the awning. Applicant Lori Lacey Orr, property owner Raymond George. That was also approved. That's all I have.
That's all you have? Okay. Councilmember Cardwell?
The Loudon Utility Board met today at 4:30. The following items were approved. We authorized the audit services with CPAs. We authorized professional service agreements, 2 of them with LJA Engineering. We authorized a contract extension for electrical overhead right-of-way clearing with JM Mowing. We authorized a 2015 Freightliner bucket truck is considered surplus. We approved RMJ Consulting LLC for SCADA and control services, accepting the bid for Blair Bend water tank improvements with the Innovative Excavating and Construction LLC, and established national gas rates at 109. The Historic Planning Advisory Committee met on the 17th. We had Nolan Rollins came in to talk about the foundation he's started to help raise money for a possible museum for the city of Loudon. We also continuing work on the historic walking trail. We have 9 write-ups in draft form now, and we're working on another 9. So we start purchasing signs. Next meeting will be April 21st.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Ridings, do you have anything?
The only concerns I have is that the construction entrance to the Sunrise Ridge is gonna be on Georgia Street. It's gonna turn all pieces.
Okay. Ladies, you got all your notes, everything? No questions? We do have just a couple announcements. April 4th, this is next Saturday, is our spring cleanup day. Looking good, Loudon, in the spring cleanup. So if you're available and can help pick up our city streets, I don't know if your VFW is
I
available.
texted them on and see.
Okay. We'll meet here at 9 o'clock if you can help. We'll identify some areas that we go and pick up litter. That's on April the 4th. We have some anniversaries. LUB several. Caleb Dutton, wastewater treatment plant, 4 years. RB Cable, electric department, 8 years. Nick Dixon, electric department, 10 years. Cody Watkins, water treatment plant, 11 years. Chad Udi, electric department, 12 years. Chase Randolph, gas, water, and sewer, 18 years. CB Houston, water department, 19 years. Matthew Henderson, water treatment plant, 19 years. Toby Massey, gas department, 31 years, and the old man even looks, got the beard to prove it. Perry Purdy, customer service, 43 years. That's a testament, 43 years. City of Loudon, we had Caleb Farmer, Public Works, 1 year. Rick Castle, Parks and Rec, 9 years. Jacob Turbyfield, Loudon Fire Department, 11 years, and then Jeff Lawhon, Public Works, 27 years. I think you might have some birthdays.
I do. From the police department, Love Clifton, March 26th. Bo Coggle, March 28th. Cameron Kelly, March the 5th. Scotty Newman, March 18th. And Fire Department, Bobby Schubert, March 18th. Public Works, Daniel Espinoza, March 4th. Electric Department, Jason Lorenz, March 29th. Adam Watson, March 26th. Water Department, Water Treatment Plant, Andy Lawson, March 22nd. The sewer is Ben White, March 25th. Gas Department, Toby Mason, March 1st. Wastewater Treatment Plant, Donovan Giles, March 25th. Lee Ramsey, March 27th. Customer Service, Perry Purdy, March 22nd. And then, Board Member Carly McCatherine, March 5th. And Council Member Eric Gibbon, happy birthday, March 29th.
Save the best for last, right? His last name come up yet.
That's right.
Yeah. Happy birthday in advance.
Thank you.
Any other, discussion, comments? All right, if there's no objection, this meeting is adjourned. Thank y'all for coming.
7:25.
Oh,